All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and record this meeting and get started. So again, thank you everyone for your patience, and my apologies again for the late start. So the agenda for the meeting today, we're going to talk about some updates regarding the general education division, the campus representatives. We've got some information about the adaptive learning timelines, our Gen Ed core implementation, and then a conversation about the remedial courses that we have. So some of the updates that we have is that we were approved for a system division chair of general education, which is a full-time position. The job posting is listed, so I wanted to put this out there if any of you are interested and or know of any qualified candidates. You do need to have a master's degree in one of the general education areas. So it's not, if you have an education master's, that doesn't qualify you. So math, science, English, humanities, we're looking for those positions to fill that. The next update is talking about the general education curriculum email box. And Clarissa Barnes, the instructional designer over Gen Ed, said she'd speak to that a little bit. Clarissa, are you able to speak?
Good afternoon. Yes, I can speak to the general education mailbox. Email box, sorry.
Go for it. Thanks, Clarissa.
Thanks. Do you want me to speak now?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, cool. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, Gen Ed faculty. Thank you so much for having me on your webinar this afternoon. I just want to let you guys know that, and as you can see, Andy, thank you so much for putting the information on the screen. We have our own division email box. Annie has displayed the information here, so make sure you jot down the name so that if you have any questions or concerns as it relates to your classes, as it relates to Gen Ed as a whole, or if you just want to share some, best practices and things of that nature that you may not have been able to with your individual subcommittees, feel free to send that information to the Gen Ed email box. I have access to that email box. I'll check that email box daily, and what I'm going to do is just compile and sort through the list of emails that come in, and then I will connect with Annie in the interim, and then our new chair once we have that person on board, to be able to sift through what's most important that we need to address, and then be able to get back to you guys in a timely manner to let you know that we recognize that we have received your email, and that we'll be able to respond to your request as soon as we're able to. Are there any questions as it relates to the email box and my role and my responsibility and what your role will be?
Hey, Clarissa, just one other thing, too, is going forward, we ask that no emails go directly to Clarissa regarding maintenance requests or issues within the classroom. We'd like it to go to that mailbox so that we can track that information. And so many of you are doing excellent work sending those directly to Clarissa, but we ask that you send them there instead. So that was the only additional piece I had. So any questions?
No, if there's no questions or you don't have any questions right now, that's fine. Feel free to send any questions that you may think of to the Gen Ed division email box. And like I said, like Annie mentioned, I'll be checking that email box, and I'll connect with her, and we'll sort through those responses, and we'll get back to you guys in a timely fashion based on your requests.
All right, thank you, Clarissa.
Thank you, Annie.
The other update we have is the removal of the PD090. This committee approved this removal at the end of last year, and it's taken some time to officially remove the course for a variety of reasons. But officially for the May 1st start, it will be removed from student requirements as well as listed in the catalog. In the catalog are provisional acceptance students currently are required to take the PD090 course, but now the verbiage will state that they take PD121 as part of that provisional acceptance instead. So that will all appear in the May catalog. Are there any questions on any of those updates? All right. So this, and I apologize that it's somewhat small, but this is the list of campus representatives that I have. I just ask that you take a look at this, and if any of these are incorrect or need to be updated, if you could send me an email, and I will happily do that. So what the campus representatives mean is when we have a vote, each one of the campuses would have one vote for their campus, and these are the representatives that I would directly contact regarding that vote. The information that would go to them would pass the subcommittee first, so all the faculty in those verticals would have a say on it before it comes to this level. But I want to make sure that you're aware. So great, thanks Jenny. And Tom is also on the call, so. But again, not something we're going to go through line by line, but if this is correct, then no need for an action. If this is incorrect, if you could please email me and let me know the modification, and I will make sure that that is updated. And I will send out the deck with the minutes and the recording, so this will be included with that as well. So the next item on the agenda I wanted to share with the group is the adaptive learning timelines for general education. And so here they are. Fall of last year, we launched College Algebra Full Scale. This current term, we launched Professional Development and Psychology. For May 1st, we'll be launching English Composition, and Information Literacy is the new EN 111 course, which is the 3-credit Information Literacy course. This will be available for full-scale launch in Summer A, and I'll talk about the general education core implementation in a minute, but that doesn't mean that 106 will be launched using adaptive learning. So to clarify, that's the new course, and it may be offered in the summer in small sections, but it wouldn't be system-wide. Then for Fall A, Cultural Diversity, the Introduction to Humanities, so all 3 of the new humanities courses, our English Composition 2 course, and then Environmental Literacy, our science course, will all be available in the adaptive format for the general launch. Do note that these will all be piloting in Summer B in one section, in an online section. So you might see that those are available, but it won't be full scale until Fall A. And then for Fall B, the 3 courses listed here already exist in a non-adaptive format, unlike these. These are all brand new for Fall A. But the 3 courses listed there for Fall B will be offered in an adaptive format as well for Fall B. So all of the general education core classes will be available with the adaptive technology included, I should say, this year. Any questions on that?
Annie, I've not seen any documentation on what's coming in the speech class in Fall B.
We haven't
I've seen
started.
Stuff on InfoLit. Okay.
So currently we are only working on the classes listed there for Fall A. We haven't started the design process for the Fall B courses yet, and that'll be happening in the relatively near future. So you should see some communications on that coming very soon.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, great question.
When is the last time that HU 101 is going to be taught?
So that will be dependent on the students. It is potential to run for a while as we teach out. And so I don't have an answer for you on that 100%, but we're working on that. We are aware that any student that's taken HU 101 that maybe needs to repeat it will have to have it available. So it won't go away right away, and I don't have the official answer for you yet, but I should have that soon. We do have to look at kind of the impact of that on student schedules.
Do you have a loose ballpark that's not binding just for staffing at my end?
I don't. I don't. So I will definitely keep you posted, though.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So the other thing with, actually I'll get to that in a minute, jumping ahead of myself here, I just wanted to put up there that we are working on adaptive courses outside of Gen Ed. So we're currently working on a medical terminology course. That is, we have a Gen Ed version of that, the AS144, but it will be moving out of Gen Ed and moving into the other programs. And with that medical terminology course, it's nursing, patient services, and patient treatment that are working together to build that out. We also have 4 to 6 business courses on the roadmap, and not that they'll be launched, but they'll start the design process. And then patient services, IT, and criminal justice also have some courses listed. Another course that touches the gen ed faculty is an adaptive anatomy and physiology course, though that's not slated to start until quite a bit later in the year to start the discussions on that. But I just wanted to share kind of an overview of where we're at with the adaptive timelines, gen ed, and beyond. Any other questions regarding that? All right. So I did want to throw this slide on here just to let everyone here know that we are offering training for the faculty before we launch courses that have the adaptive technology, and the training has 3 components to it. So for those of you that teach either psychology, English, math, or professional development 121, we're working to have all faculty trained in the adaptive technology for this term. And then over the summer, we'll be working on training all of the other general education faculty. So to give you a little bit of timeline on that. But the way that the faculty are prepared and supported, we start with asking you to engage with your class as a student. So log in from a student perspective in Blackboard and engage with the learning map as a student would, getting questions wrong and working with it so that you're able to address student questions from that student interface perspective. The second portion of the training takes place in a Blackboard classroom. The first part of that focuses on the technology in Realize It from the instructor perspective, so using that instructor interface. And the second portion of the training is an introduction to teaching using adaptive technology and incorporating that in the classroom. For those that teach in a face-to-face setting, we know that incorporating this technology is a little bit different in some of your classrooms, so we're also offering outside support where we'll be doing some campus visits, some one-on-one sessions, and just connecting with you on a more regular basis to help you drive your classroom instruction while you incorporate the technology. So please keep an ear out and look for some emails for those of you that are teaching courses that are coming up. So more information will be coming your way, and I'm working with campus leadership to identify those faculty. Any questions on that? And I know this is a very quick overview, but I just wanted to put this up here to reiterate what the adaptive learning technology is and make sure that we're all on the same page when we're speaking about this. So the Realize It system is a digital learning resource. So it allows the students to engage with the content through this adaptive platform, and it modifies the way that the content, the amount of the content, and the amount of the questions, how it's delivered to the students. The idea of this is it's replacing the traditional textbook, but not the instructor. Okay? So again, as I mentioned earlier, this has a bigger impact on what it looks like for our ground classrooms than it does for the online environment. But I really want to reiterate again, the idea of the adaptive learning technology is a replacement for the traditional textbook. So what that means is that students can engage with the adaptive technology in the classroom, but it can also be used for homework and to prepare for class. So part of the class time may be using Realize It, but the other part of the class needs to be the instructor offering a personalized learning experience for the students, whether it's engaging activities, it's talking through applications, there may be some lecture. We really want to address the fact that this is not a technology that is replacing classroom instruction. It's a technology that is supporting it. So I tossed this example up here for math versus psychology. So our math classes have 2 4-hour blocks a week. So some of the class time is offered where the instructor is presenting and offering information. The other part of the class is a workshop style where the students are working on the computers and the instructors are walking around offering one-on-one support. Where the psychology course, they may not use the Realize It technology in class at all for some classes. The entire class period may be engaging with an activity or talking about an application, working through a research article where they're identifying pieces. So the reason I put that out here is each class may look different, each subject may look different, but again, it is not, the idea is not that we have students sitting at a computer working through Realize It instead of engaging with the instructor in that classroom. So again, really reiterating that. What the Realize It allows the instructor to see is what data is available, how the students have engaged with the content, and they can prepare their class based on the data, but still run the classes as they've done before. And the reason I'm reiterating this again is I feel like there's been some confusion, and I take the blame for some of that, but I really want to let all of you know that work with the ground campus instructors and or our ground campus instructors that this is the technology we're incorporating in, but it is not meant to replace that portion of it. Questions?
Annie?
Yes.
I'm gross. I'm sorry, I have a really bad connection, so if it's coming too loud. I am kind of a big fan of training faculty, and I know you and I have spoken a little bit about this and already planning. But one of the things that's really obvious from the get-go is that faculty members really cannot see the content that Realize It is providing. If there was some way of summarizing that so that faculty members could build curriculum prior to the course, it would be a very good idea.
So that's a really excellent point, Tom, and I'll mention in math, I don't have that because of the way that it was built in, though that's something we can go back and look at. For psychology and the composition course, all of the content that we've actually put in Realize It is offered to faculty in Word documents, so they can actually see all of the content that's available because of just that. I need to work on that for the math and the PD 121, offering that content so that it is accessible outside of Realize It for the faculty to see what's there and be able to prepare for class. So very valid point. But do know that for psychology and English, that is available.
Annie, where is the English content available?
So the English content is available in the Faculty Resources tab. If you look in the classroom, there is a Faculty Resources folder on the side that is hidden for students, but those documents are uploaded there.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions?
Hi,
Well,
Annie, it's Laura from Orlando.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention for those people that are concerned about the faculty knowing what's on the Realize It platform for their students, that you actually had enrolled me in both the class and as an observer. So I have the ability for PD 121 to go through it and see everything they're doing before they actually do it. So it's not as if we're going into it blind, not understanding what they're going to be asked or what the process is. So we have full access to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say, though, that some of the other courses have a lot more extensive content than the PD 121. So the composition and psychology, for example, it's a lot harder for the instructors to navigate through all of the content because there is so much more. And so I do understand, though, and I've gotten that feedback as well, but you're absolutely correct that you have access to navigate the content, fully as a student and an instructor. But just to have that extra set, I think will be useful to support faculty preparations as well.
Annie, in Birmingham, there is still the ongoing concern about expecting students to engage with Realize It outside the classroom. It requires access, it requires devices in order to engage with the content outside the classroom. And many of our students do not have internet access or even a computer at home.
And I do know that, and I am absolutely addressing that. That is something that we are talking about because Birmingham is not the only campus that has that concern. So I don't have something to tell you today, but do know that we are sharing that message loud and clear with our leadership, and that is absolutely a concern of mine as well. So it is something that we are working on.
Well, just know that we will bring it up every opportunity we get.
No problem. Understood. And I apologize, I know we are right at the end. I have a couple more slides, so I'm going to try to go quickly through it. If you have to log off, I apologize. I know I started late here. But before I move on, are there any other questions, comments, or thoughts regarding this adaptive learning technology message slide that I've got up here? All right. So the other piece I wanted to mention here is the General Education Core implementation. And Tom, you asked an excellent question about what about the other courses that we're currently teaching. And I'm working on a timeline for how we will teach those out and when that will be. So I have a note to confirm with Kitty on that and Janet Sabri and make sure that we make that a high priority to share the information. But what I wanted to share with this group is, in general, I'm working with the individual programs to launch this general education core curriculum. And in most cases, it looks like it'll be happening in the fall. That's not for every program. Some had reasons for why we couldn't do the transition yet. And campus leadership will hear that communication plan regarding which programs they are specifically. Once we have that, our division chairs are still working on the timeline, but in general, many of these courses will start to be incorporated into curriculum in fall. As I mentioned too, we're offering some pilot courses, so these traditionally will be held online unless we find a reason we'd like to hold them on a ground campus, which we're absolutely open to. This term, our English composition course is actually being piloted in Kenosha on ground. So, but generally what we like to do is the term before we offer a system-wide course is we do a pilot. So for those that are involved in the curriculum committees and the design of those courses, we can visit that if you feel like a pilot would fit on your campus. The other piece I wanted to mention here is within those timeline pieces that I'm working on with each of the programs, we're also looking at programmatic course sequencing. So all students in a specific program, system-wide, will be scheduled in a specific series of courses. EN 111 and EN 104 are the first two gen ed courses that are recommended that all students take because of the nature of how they tie in to our other courses and how they build strength. Writing and information literacy is so important in so many of our courses. The other thing I'm focusing on as I meet with each of the, or have met, is that we don't want to front load with the gen ed courses. We want to make sure that if they have programmatic courses that don't have the gen ed prerequisites, that they're also allowing students to engage in those courses early on, because that's why they came to Herzing, and it's important that we're offering those courses as well. So again, the goal is we want the best student experience for the individual programs. Now with that said, if students don't pass the EN 111 or EN 104, our registration teams are going to be informed that we want to put them back in those courses as soon as possible. And for the gen eds, we recently removed these from the humanities requirement, but the registrars will be informed that they are not to be scheduled in any of those humanities courses until they've completed the English courses. So a training is going to happen with registration, and I'm working with Janet Sabri and the registration team to make sure that this programmatic course sequencing process is shared system-wide. But I just wanted to let the team know that that is the plan for this, this new general education core implementation and the programmatic rollouts for these. Questions?
Annie, what's the review process following the pilot of each of these adaptive learning courses?
So the review process is, first off, the faculty are all invited and enrolled in that student trial. So we ask that they work through, they must complete Unit 1.
Well, that's training. I'm talking about the review after the pilot takes place to determine how successful it was and what adaptation needs to be made.
So it's a conversation with the faculty that taught it, and then looking at the student feedback and incorporating that into the iteration. So we currently, that's what we've been working on. So for example, the psychology course, the feedback is we're working on building out some more application pieces and making it less of a reading course and more application based. So that was the feedback that we had gotten from the students. Currently with the English faculty, we're teaching 2 pilots of it, and I'm collecting feedback weekly to make changes to the course based on the experience, the questions the students are having, and that feedback. So it is kind of a on-the-spot modifications as we run it.
Okay, my concern is that there really isn't any time for contemplation following the pilot. We go immediately from the pilot into the full-blown rollout. Without any gap in between to make adjustments. That's a concern for me.
Okay, and that's definitely not something that I have the freedom to change, but I can absolutely address that again, because I can see that is a valid concern.
Yeah, typically, a pilot would be something like a beta test, and you would do that, and you would gather all of your material, and you would mull it over and make adjustments before rolling out, perhaps even another pilot before rolling it out system-wide.
Absolutely. Like I said, definitely heard, but right now this is kind of the setup that we've got. So I'll definitely take your feedback back, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, understood.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Oh, and this I had already mentioned that I forgot to delete the slide, but again, that was that PD 090. And the last thing I wanted to mention is we are looking at piloting some remedial courses within the 100 level course. So we are currently piloting the MA 107 16-week course that has the 090 content built in. We're looking to pilot the EN 104 16-week course over the summer, and at some point in the future we'll also be looking at offering the remedial support for the SC 090 within our anatomy and physiology course. So each of these courses are offered in a 16-week format. We are working on how that would look, how students would be placed into one or the other through this pilot process. But I did want to let everyone know that we aren't just removing the 090 courses at this point, because many of our diploma students use the 090 courses, but we are having some further conversations about what we need to do to support the diploma students. And these are mainly in patient services, or patient treatment, I'm sorry, services, Windy Ann's area, and business. So we have a handful of the diploma programs, but I just wanted to let everyone here know that within these remediation courses that we're supporting, these 16-week 100-level courses, we're not looking at removing the 090 from that bachelor or the diploma piece, but we are having some further conversations about how do we support our diploma students and making sure that they're able to have the best student experience in the higher level courses when it comes to math and English. So again,
this is Tom.
Yes.
This is Tom in New Orleans. When we do these types of things, just please be aware that some of the accrediting bodies like ABHES, if we go to a 16-week for some of these, that's going to change the entire sequencing and is most likely going to have to be approved by the accrediting body in order to do it. So we may have to have some sections of the 090s always available but not embedded into a 16-week. I like the concept of the 16-week. But there may be some accreditation issues. I'm just saying we need to keep that awareness.
Nope, absolutely, and I will take note of that and make sure that I follow up on that portion of it. I was unaware of the time delivery being an issue, so. Because it is a 4-credit 16-week course, not an 8-credit, but absolutely, I will follow up with regulatory and see what I can find out about that. So thank you, excellent point. Anything else? And again, informative, and we're hoping to find somebody to lead the committee, so I will do my best to keep everyone as informed as I can. But are there any other questions? All right, well, thank you everyone for attending, and thank you for your extra 10 minutes of time. I really appreciate it. I will work on minutes and share this recording, this deck, and the minutes with everyone on the email list, so feel free to share it with others on your campus that were unable to attend. And if you have any other questions or need anything, please let me know. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day.